Okay, so lick number 6 is quite different to the others that we've looked at so far. Still based around A Dorian, the tonality of A Dorian, but this one's going to use arpeggios, sequenced one after the other. Okay, so a little bit different, something you'll find guys like Greg Howe, Brett Garsed doing quite a lot, and something I use in my playing. So let's have a listen to lick number 6 up to speed with the track. Okay, let's have a listen to the same thing now with the metronome at 70 BPM. Okay, so this lick is based around 2 arpeggios that are diatonic or come from A Dorian, or the key of G major being the parent scale. First one is A minor 7, and then the second one is E minor 7, and we repeat the line through 2 octaves essentially, landing on some very nice melodic notes as we do so. So we're going to start with the first finger at the 5th fret of the low E string and start with our A minor 7 arpeggio. We're going to play 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7 for the theory guys. So we pick the first note, hammer onto the 8th fret with the little or 3rd finger, whatever's comfortable, on the same string. Okay, then we do 7th fret on the A string. I use my 3rd finger if I've started with the little finger. If I've started with the 3rd finger, I use my 2nd finger for that 7th fret. Entirely up to you. Let's demonstrate both. Both will work equally well. Okay, let's start with the 3rd and 2nd finger in this case. The next note we're going to play is the 5th fret on the D string with the 1st finger. Okay, now in terms of picking, personally what I do is I go down, hammer, down, middle. Okay, but you could go down, hammer, down, down as well. That's our A minor 7 arpeggio. We're then going to start on the 7th fret of the A string, with the 2nd finger, do a downstroke. Then I use my middle finger, again feel free to use a downstroke, on the 5th fret of the D string, hammer onto the 9th on the same string with the little finger. And then I use my middle finger to pluck the 7th fret on the G string. That's our E minor 7. So A minor 7 to E minor 7. We then repeat the same thing up the octave, which gives us this shape for the A minor 7. 7th fret on the D, hammer onto 10 with the 3rd finger. Same picking as we used before, 2nd finger on the 9th fret of the G, and then 1st finger on the 8th fret of the B. So pick, hammer, pick middle, or pick, hammer, pick, pick. Okay, we're then going to transition to the 2nd finger on the 9th fret of the G string, which is the E note for our E minor 7 arpeggio, and then do that with a downstroke. 1st finger on the 8th fret of the B string, hammer onto 12, little finger. Okay, we're then going to move slightly and go up to the 1st finger is going to go up to the 10th fret on the high E, and we're going to hammer on to the 13th of the chord. Okay, which is the Dorian, cool Dorian sounding note. Okay, so 14th fret on the high E. One more time. Okay, let's move on to the next lick. Okay, so lick number 7 is a wide interval Dorian lick. Really cool sounding one, this one, with some really nice kind of very Dorian flavoured notes. So we've got the 6th in there as well, and it goes like this, up to speed with the backing track. Okay, now with the metronome at 70 BPM, nice and slow, same thing. Okay, so a wider interval lick this time, a little bit trickier in terms of the fingering involved and some of the stretches. So again, take this one nice and slow. I'm going to start up at the 15th fret of the high E string with a big wide stretch going between 15 and 10, little finger and first finger. Pick the first note, pull off back to the 10. Okay, and then we're going to go to the 13th fret on the B string with the third finger, do an upstroke, and then another upstroke on the 12th fret of the G string, second finger. So we get... Pull off to the 9th fret on the same string to the first finger, and then third finger goes on the 12th fret of the D string, upstroke, then another upstroke on the 12th fret of the A string. With the second finger, pull off to the first finger at the 10th fret. So we get... Hammer on to the 15th fret of the A string with the little finger, a little bit of a stretch again. Okay, downstroke on the 12th fret of the D string with the second finger. Middle finger or another downstroke on the 11th fret of the G string, slide up to the 12th fret with the first finger. Okay, we're then going to hit the 16th fret with a hammer on the same string. Okay, then second finger, just compress the hand again, 15th fret on the B string. I do a downstroke, then the middle finger on the right hand or another downstroke on the 14th fret of the high E with the first finger, slide up to 15, hammer on to 19 with the little finger. Okay, one more time, nice and slow. And there you have it. Let's move on to the next lick. Okay, lick number 8, we're getting towards the end of our Dorian licks now. This one is based around some string skipping, again very Greg Howe-esque in its kind of nature. Again, all based around A Dorian, goes like this, up to full speed with the track. Okay, here's the same thing now at 70 BPM with the metronome. Okay, so all Dorian sounds, but a little bit of chromaticism and also some wider interval string skipping. Again, very much a kind of Greg Howe sound. This one's a lot easier if you hybrid pick it, so let's stick with the hybrid picking for this one. We're going to start at the 7th fret on the G string with the first finger, do a downstroke, and then hammer on to the 9th fret with the second finger. Now I recommend these lower notes, these 7 and 9s that we're going to do like a little pedal on the G string, we palm mute them. Not too heavy, but just a little bit of palm muting. It keeps some definition and some separation between the upper notes that we're going to play on these lower notes. So next note we're going to do is a little finger on the 12th fret of the high E, that gives us the octave. Okay, and we're going to use our middle finger on the right hand to do that. I recommend you rest the middle finger of the right hand on the E string, the high E, before you even begin the lick, so that you're ready to go for that particular note. Okay, so we go down, hammer, middle finger. Okay, we're then going to repeat that, but instead of playing the 12th fret, we play the 10th fret with either the little finger or the third finger on the high E. Then again, but the 9th fret on the high E. Okay, then we play back to the 9th fret on the G, don't do the hammer on from 7 this time, and then put the first finger on high E 8, and then back to the 9th fret on the G. So we get... Okay, that little rhythmic thing there might cause some of you a little bit of a problem, so again, take it slow. Okay, then the little finger's going to go on the 12th fret of the B string, and we're going to pull off 12, 11, 10, 8. Okay, so not the 9th fret. I use my middle finger to strike that, but you could use a downstroke or an upstroke. Okay, then second finger is going to go on the 9th fret of the G string, upstroke. Then another upstroke, sorry, on the 10th fret of the D string with the 3rd finger. Pull off to 9, pull off to 7 with the 2nd and 1st fingers. So we get... Okay, then some little arpeggios. 9th fret on the A string, hammer onto the 10th fret, that's 2nd to 3rd fingers. And then 9 on the D with the 2nd finger, and then 7 on the G with the 1st finger. Again, pick it however you like. I go down, hammer, down, middle. Okay, then we go same kind of arpeggio, this time just through a C major 7 kind of sound. So we've got 9 to 10 on the D, and then 9 on the G with the 2nd finger, 8 on the B with the 1st finger. So we get... And then we do a little scalar run that goes 8, 10, 12 on the B, 8, 10, 12 on the high E. So that whole little arpeggiated section. And then one more time, the full lick. Okay, let's move on to the next lick. Okay, lick number 9, again kind of similar to the previous lick number 7 in that we've got some string skipping in there for some wider intervals, but this one requires a tricky sort of sliding technique that's going to take a little bit of getting used to. So let's have a listen to it up to full speed with the track. Okay, here's the same thing with the metronome at 70 BPM. Okay, this lick starts up at the 5th fret of the D string with the 1st finger. We're going to do a little kind of hammer-on string skip kind of lick that goes 5 to 7, hammer on, pick the 1st note obviously. That's 1st and 3rd finger. Jump the 1st finger over to the B string at the 5th fret, so we're firmly in kind of pentatonic territory here. Use the middle finger on the right hand to strike that string. Again, I very much recommend hybrid picking here. Go back to that 7th fret on the D string. Now I recommend the use of the 2nd finger here, but you can use the 3rd. So we're going to swap that over. Okay, then put your 3rd or little finger on the 8th fret of the B string, middle finger again. Back to the 7th fret with a downstroke on the D. Back to the 1st finger on the B string, 5th fret, use the middle finger on the right hand. So, notice again how I'm palm muting the lower note in order to get some separation. Okay, you might just want to take that bit on its own. Okay, next bit we're going to grab that 7th fret on the D string again with the 2nd finger, pick, slide back to 7, slide back to 6, slide back up to 7. So, and that's the bit that's going to cause trouble, these little slides, okay? They've got a cool sound, so they're worth learning. 1st finger then goes back to the B string at the 5th fret, back to the 7th fret on the D string, downstroke. Now we're going to do the 5th fret on the G string with the 1st finger again, middle finger on the right hand. Then do that same slide again. So that first bar, okay, a little bit tricky. Then we're going to grab the 3rd finger, place it on the 7th fret of the G string, pick, slide up to 8, slide back to 7, pull off to 5. Keep that all in time if you can. Okay, go down to the 7th fret on the D string with the 2nd finger. Make sure you use that 2nd finger, not the third finger in this case, do a downstroke. Now the third finger or little finger is going to transition from 8, slide up to 10 on the B string. Again, that's the middle finger that's going to play that string. Okay, now again with the middle finger, 8th fret on the E string, first finger on the left hand. Now we go 10 on the E, on the B, 10 on the E, 10 on the B, that's down, middle, down. And then finally, third finger slides from 11 to 12 on the high E. So that bar on its own. And then the whole thing together, remember the palm muting. Okay, let's have a look at lick number 10. Okay, lick number 10 is our last A Dorian lick, kind of more basic kind of rock fusion lick before we move into 2-5-1 territory. And this lick is based around some wide stretch kind of pentatonic phrases. And it's kind of tricky to play up to speed at our 130 BPM backing track, but don't worry too much, you can play it nice and slow, or feel free to pick it as with the other licks, because even though this is a big stretch, it's the arrangement of the notes or the order of the notes that causes the issue. Okay, let's have a listen to it up to full speed with the track. Okay, let's have a listen to the same thing now at 70 BPM with the metronome. Okay, so again, wide interval pentatonic lick, or wide stretch I should say really, although by its nature it gives us some wider intervals. We're going to start down on the low E with the first finger on the 5th fret. Now we've done this stretch before, 5, 8 and 10 in a previous lick, but we're going to reverse the order of the notes now. So we go 5 to 10 to 8. Okay, or not reverse, but slightly change the order. So that's pick, hammer, pull off, and that's going to take a little bit of practice if you've not done this before, because you've got that weaker combination of 3rd and 4th fingers here, and there's no real way around this unless you can do this stretch with the 2nd finger, which I kind of don't recommend, but try it anyway. Okay, so 5 to 10 to 8. Take that same shape, but move it to the 7th fret on the A string, so we get 7 to 12 to 10. Again, pick, hammer, pull off. Do the same thing on the D string, same frets. Now move up to the 9th fret on the G string. We're just moving this sort of cell around the shape. 9, 14, 12. Now, just to make things awkward, but also to give some variation, we're going to move the same thing to the 10th fret of the B string, 10, 13, 15, but we're going to go actually in that order, 10, 13, 15, not the other way. Okay, so up to that point. Okay, now we change things up again. We've got 2nd finger on the 12th fret of the E string, pick, pull off to 10, hammer onto 15, pull off to 12, pull off to 10. Okay, so that takes us into the next bar. Now we're going to go 13, 12, 10, pick, pull off, 3rd finger, 2nd finger, 1st finger on the B. And then finally, to finish the lick, 2 notes, G12 with the 2nd finger picked, and then hammer onto 14 with the little finger. Notice I'm using the 2nd finger for the 12th fret. You could use a 3rd finger for the 14th, but the little finger is more comfortable for me. Okay, so again, all the way through, nice and slow. Okay, the other thing just before we move on, now we've sort of finished these Dorian licks, is just to mention that you'll notice through all of these licks, I played little tagged improvised phrases on the ends of these lines to make them fit in a musical context. Try and do that when you actually use these lines, and this goes for all of the lines in this DVD. Try and make sure that you tag them with beginnings and endings so that you are not just playing a phrase like a copy and paste kind of idea. Try and make them fit in a musical context by adding a little bit to the beginning and a little bit to the end so they become your own kind of things. Okay, so let's move on to our next lick.